One rainy night, Arman found an old wooden key buried in his backyard. But, strangely, there was no lock in his house that matched it. Narrator. The next day, he noticed a hidden door behind his bookshelf. The key fit perfectly, but when he opened it, he didn't find another room. He found darkness that whispered his name. With trembling hands, Arman stepped inside. The air grew colder, and suddenly, he wasn't in his house anymore. He was in a forgotten village, where time seemed frozen. An old woman appeared and said, "You should not be here. Every step you take will awaken the shadows." Before Arman could ask anything, she vanished. Intermission. What would you do if you found a hidden door in your home? Comment below before the story continues. Suddenly, Arman heard footsteps behind him. Dark figures were chasing him through the frozen streets. He ran as fast as he could, gripping the key tightly. He finally reached a tall tower. Inside, he found carvings of the same key everywhere. A message read, "The one who unlocks the door controls the shadows, or becomes one." As Arman turned to leave, the shadows surrounded him. His scream echoed through the village, and the key dropped to the ground. The door in his house slowly closed. Forever. The rain was coming down in sheets, the kind that makes you want to curl up with a good book and forget the world outside. That was my plan, anyway. But then, I saw it. A glint of something near the old oak tree in my backyard, uncovered by the downpour. Curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed a raincoat and headed out. Buried in the mud was a small, ornate wooden key. It was old, impossibly so, with intricate carvings that seemed to hum with a strange energy in my palm. The moment I brought it inside, the house felt different. The air grew heavy, and a chill that had nothing to do with the rain outside snaked its way down my spine. I spent the next hour trying it on every lock I could find: doors, chests, even old cabinets in the attic. Nothing. It didn't fit a single one. It was a key without a lock. Or so I thought. That night, sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. The house, a place I'd known my whole life, became a labyrinth of unfamiliar sounds. A floorboard creaking upstairs when I was downstairs. A soft whisper that sounded like my name, carried on a draft that shouldn't exist. I'd dismiss it as the storm, my imagination running wild, but the feeling of being watched was unshakable. The wooden key, which I'd left on the kitchen counter, seemed to be the epicenter of it all. The closer I got to it, the colder the air became. The whispers grew louder, more distinct. It wasn't just my name anymore. It was a single word, repeated over and over. Find what? The lock. I was starting to think I didn't want to. Days turned into a week. The whispers became a constant companion. They followed me from room to room, a ghostly echo in a silent house. Find. I started to notice things I'd never seen before. A scratch on the wall behind the living room bookshelf, shaped almost like a keyhole. A section of wallpaper in the hallway that was just a shade lighter than the rest. My heart hammered against my ribs every time I discovered a new anomaly. Was I going crazy? Was this all in my head? The key sat on my desk, a silent, wooden sentinel, its presence a constant, unnerving reminder. The house no longer felt like my home. It felt like a puzzle box, and I was trapped inside with something that desperately wanted me to find the final piece. The breaking point came on the 7th night. The whispers weren't just whispers anymore. They were clear, distinct voices, weaving through the halls. Find the door, Arman. The key is waiting. Hurry. My blood ran cold. It knew my name. I was standing in the main hallway, the key clutched in my hand, its wood now feeling warm, almost alive. My eyes darted around, searching for anything, any clue. Then I saw it, a faint outline on the wall beneath the main staircase, a space that should have been solid wall. It was the exact size and shape of a door I had never, ever seen before. My hand trembled as I ran my fingers along the seam, hidden perfectly in the wood paneling. There, at waist height, almost invisible, was a small wooden keyhole. It was a perfect match. Before we go any further, I have to ask you guys, if you found a key that led to a hidden door in your own home, with strange whispers urging you on, would you open it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious what you'd do in this situation, because my hand is shaking right now, and every rational thought is screaming at me to just drop the key, board up this wall, and sell the house. But you know I can't do that. The mystery is too deep. The pull is too strong. And, honestly, I need to know what's behind this door. So, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because you're not going to want to miss what happens next. Alright, deep breath. Here we go. The key slid into the lock with a soft, satisfying click that echoed in the dead silent house. For a moment, nothing happened. The whisper stopped. The air settled. I felt a wave of anticlimax wash over me. Maybe it was just an old, forgotten pantry. I put my hand on the wall and pushed. With a low groan of ancient wood, the door swung inward, revealing not a pantry, but a narrow, stone staircase descending into absolute darkness. A musty, cold air, smelling of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and vaguely sweet rushed out to greet me. The whispers returned, but this time they were different. Excited. Come down, he's waiting. My phone's flashlight cut a weak beam into the oppressive dark, revealing slick, stone walls and steps that disappeared into the gloom. I took the first step down. My light flickered over the stone walls as I descended. They were covered in strange symbols, carvings similar to the ones on the key but larger, more complex. They seemed to pulse with a faint inner light as my flashlight passed over them. The air grew colder with every step. The staircase was longer than I could have imagined, spiraling deep beneath my house, far deeper than any basement should go. Suddenly, a sound from behind me, the door. It slammed shut with a deafening boom that vibrated through the stone, plunging me into total darkness. Panic seized me. I fumbled for my phone, the lights sputtering back to life. I ran back up the stairs, but the door was gone. There was only a solid stone wall. There was no handle, no lock, no seam. I was trapped. A low chuckle echoed from the bottom of the stairs. It was not a friendly sound. Fear gave way to a desperate need for answers. There was only one way to go. Down. The laughter faded, replaced by the sound of my own ragged breathing and the dripping of water somewhere in the dark. The staircase finally opened into a large, circular chamber. In the center of the room, on a stone pedestal, was a single, leather-bound book. It was the only object in the entire room. The carvings on its cover matched the key, the walls. As my light fell upon it, the book opened on its own. The pages were filled with a language I didn't recognize, but as I looked, the script shimmered and reformed into English. It wasn't a diary or a spell book. It was a contract. My breath hitched. It detailed a pact made by my great-grandfather, a man I'd only seen in faded photographs. He had traded something for his family's prosperity. He traded a guardian. The contract stated that In exchange for wealth and success, one descendant from each generation would be bound to serve as the keeper of the lock. They would protect whatever was trapped down here. My ancestor had built the house around this chamber, hiding the door, hoping the secret would be lost to time. The key was meant to be passed down, a burden and a duty. But my family had forgotten the whispers, the strange events. It was the entity, the guardian, trying to lead me here, trying to remind me of my post. As I read the final line, a new wave of cold washed over me. The old guardian's time is over. The new guardian must take his place, or the lock will fail. Suddenly, a deep, guttural growl echoed from the shadows behind the pedestal. It was slow, heavy, and filled with an ancient hunger. My light swung wildly, catching a glimpse of two massive, glowing red eyes opening in the dark. The guardian was no benevolent protector. It was a prisoner, and its jailer had just walked in. The realization hit me like a physical blow. I wasn't meant to be a guardian. I was the new lock. The key hadn't opened a door for me. It had closed a trap. The growl intensified, and a colossal, shadowy form began to detach itself from the darkness. It was huge, far bigger than the chamber should have been able to hold. This place wasn't built by human hands. The red eyes fixed on me, and a voice ancient and powerful filled my mind, not my ears. You have come. You will hold the gate. You will be the lock. It wasn't a request. I started backing away, my phone flashlight shaking violently, casting frantic, dancing shadows on the walls. The symbols on the stone began to glow brightly, their light pulsating in time with a deep, rhythmic hum that resonated in my bones. The chamber was waking up. The trap was springing. And then I saw it. On the other side of the chamber, another door, identical to the one I'd come through. Another lock. Was it a way out? Or just another part of this nightmare? The creature took a step forward, the stone floor cracking under its weight. I had a choice to make, and I had about 2 seconds to make it. Please like, share, and comments below. Thanks for watching.